Six Nations, game of the weekend, France against Wales. Can Wales go one more game and get themselves a Grand Slam? That will be the question. It's not going to be an easy one. France coming off that loss to England, narrow loss. They are 2 wins and 1 loss. Remember, they got a game in hand alongside Scotland after having some COVID cases, whereas Wales are a perfect 4-0. We will see how things go. I'm going to go through the squads. I'll put them in the description and some of the stats, the predictions, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one is going to go. Like I said, it's all for the Grand Slam. This is essentially like a final, so we will see how things end up playing out. It's on 9 o'clock local time, which I think makes it 8 o'clock GMT, and that makes it 9 o'clock in the morning over here in New Zealand, which is pretty good, although my kids are out of bed by 9 o'clock, so maybe a wee bit of distraction going on for the game, but it's going to be massive. So I will definitely be watching, maybe with a bit of coffee and breakfast at hand. For the French lineup, Baille, Marchand and Haouas are the front row. I wouldn't say they've been the most dominant front row, or they haven't been under the pump. It's kind of been solid without being spectacular for the French. Their locks have been really good. I think Leroux and Willemse have some of the biggest hits and highest work rates amongst all the guys in the Six Nations. But remember, Leroux's not available, so it's Taofifenua this week. Did a solid job last week, but Willemse was probably the star of the 2 locks. He just has continued on that phenomenal form he's been in. Cretin, Ollivon, and Alldritt are the back row, and they've got stars across the back row. Alldritt, his handling is just amazing, but Wales have got a pretty good number 8 of their own, so I'm quite looking forward to that that clash. It's interesting as well because like you look at Tipperick and you kind of know his role, whereas the French guys maybe aren't quite, like, they don't have a guy who's been all over the breakdown. They haven't got a turnover king. Maybe that's one area they're a little bit lacking, is they don't have a turnover king like Watson or Tipperick, or I think this year's stats, it's Tyke Byrne who's getting all the turnover. CJ Stander is getting quite a lot of turnover. So maybe that's one area, if you're looking for an area of weakness, maybe that's an area in the French side. There's no weakness in the 19 combo between Dupont and Jalibert. Absolute class. Jalibert, when he runs the ball, is a proper threat, and he can distribute. He's that good balance in a 10 that he keeps defenders questioning what he's going to do, because he can do most things very well. He can kick, he can pass, he can run. You know, some 10s are more of a shovel guy. Some like to run it a wee bit too much. Jalibert is a really fine balance. And Dupont, nobody knows what the hell that guy's going to do. He is just seat of your pants kind of stuff. World class, so he's one to watch. But how do you do that? Easier said than done. Fickou has been really good this tournament as well. And Vakatawa is an extra threat. Look for him and I guess Dupont maybe combining. If Dupont puts a little dinky ball over Vakatawa, him and Dupont have a pretty good sixth sense seemingly about him hitting the ball at pace. Penaud on the right wing, left wing, Thomas on the right wing, and Dulin is at 15. And Dulin's another one who likes to take the ball to the line as well, but also has got a big old boot. So a good bit of variety in the French side. Gros, Antonio, Rebage, Gillon, maybe, is in the forward replacements. Cyril, Intermark, and Vincent are the back replacements. So the fact that you've got Intermark and Vincent on the bench also speaks to the French depth. I got it in spades. That being said, don't doubt this Welsh team, man. I'm not Welsh, but even I maybe sometimes get a bit frustrated seeing all these people just, I want to use a swear word, but I'm going to try and keep it PG, G-rated. I don't know, doubting, criticizing the Welsh side, man. They got guys in most positions, if not all, which are just top class. These guys don't get 4-0 by luck. I know people complain about the red cards and all other nonsense. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The Crusaders in Super Rugby once played a game with like 60 minutes with an extra player and managed to lose against the Sharks years ago. And the Crusaders were very good. Just because you got whatever happening still means you got to go and do your job. And they've been doing it. Anyway, Wyn Jones putting his hand up for Lions contention. This Six Nations very good. Ken Owens, 2 tries last week, and Thomas Francis there as well. He's had a hell of a work rate in terms of his defensive effort. Adam Baird, Ollivon Jones, very good second row combo. Experienced Ollivon Jones. Look for him to try and maybe manipulate the ref. Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's his job. I am often a wee bit critical of our captain here in New Zealand about his lack of ability to influence the ref. That's part of the gig. Adam Baird, as I mentioned, yeah, he's been real good. Navidi, though, speaking of real good, maybe one of the players of the tournament thus far. The work rate on defense plus the handling. Tip rope, tackle machine, and Falatau, both tackle machine and like carry machine. He's been phenomenal. If you're looking for a number 8 for the Lions, I'd say he's probably my guy at the moment. I know I gave CJ Stunder my 8th berth in the team of the week last week, but Falatau was just as good. Falatau's having a hell of a year. Gareth Davis, Dan Bigger, 19 combo. Jonathan Davis, George North, 12-13, and North seemingly coming along pretty well. Josh Adams, Lewis Rees-Zammit, the wings, both very proficient attacking wingers, and Liam Williams, very assured at the back. D. Smith is interestingly back. Brown, Hill, James Botham's there as well. Those are your forward replacements. Thomas Williams, Callum Sheedy, and Willis Halaholo make out the rest of the side. Wales have got a good balance of being able to bring on the replacements at the right time as well. Wayne Pivac seems to be doing a pretty good job there. Looking at some of the numbers, Wales have scored 17 tries. Bloody hell. Rees-Zammit's got 4 of them. The Sheriff got 2 last week. Not a bad contribution. I think Josh Adams has got a couple as well. Remember, he missed the opening couple of games. France have got 11, which is not that far behind considering they've got a game in hand. So in terms of excitement value, this may be the game of the weekend. Often it doesn't work out that way. When it's that kind of final atmosphere, it tends to get a bit tighter. But anyway, we will see. Wales are the number 1 side for kick meters, but France aren't that far behind. Again, when you take into account they've played 1 less game. That being said, Wales are the lowest team in terms of broken tackles. They don't seem to need guys to physically punch through tackles. They're able to find the space, which is a different way of playing, but equally effective if you're scoring 17 tries. France are the 2nd highest team for broken tackles with 82. Ireland have 88. Remember, Ireland's played an extra game. So France are quite happy to go through you, which will make an interesting battle because Wales' defence has been just tackling all day long. So I'm very, very much anticipating that clash. Falatau, like I mentioned, the most carries, the most run meters of all the Welsh players. Teddy Toma is number 4 on the charts for broken tackles that I was mentioning earlier. But he's played like 170-something minutes. Remember, he's not played that much compared to everybody else who's played like most of the games. So Teddy Toma, you don't need me to tell you, is a proper live wire. But yeah. Last five before we get to the predictions. Last 5. It's 2-3 in Wales' favour, so it's pretty tight. But remember, the most recent 2 are those 2 French victories. Average score across those games has been 23-20 to France, actually. So when Wales have won, it's tended to be pretty close. France have had a slightly bigger wins in their wins. Most recent one was 38-21 in the Autumn Nations Cup, not that long ago. Rugby forecast algorithms got France by 4. Bookies, France by 8. Anyway, it should be a pretty good game. I am very, very much looking forward to it. Like I said, just that Welsh defence. Can they shut down those attackers like Fickou, like Dupont, like even Penaud? I didn't even really mention. He's a very dangerous live wire. Or is Rees-Zammit going to intercept his way to glory? Is Falatau going to bust his way up the guts? I don't know, man. Welsh Grand Slam on the cards. France to keep their Six Nations hopes alive. We will see. Should be a fascinating one. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How do you think it's going to go? And I will talk to you again soon. See you later.